The embargo is finally over. The Redmagic 9 Pro is here and could run Nintendo Switch games. And how would it do in other emulators? Let's find out in this video. This video will be split into 3 parts. The first part we're gonna review the phone itself. The second part will game test Android games on the Redmagic 9 Pro. On the last part we will try all the emulators that we can on the Redmagic 9 Pro and see how it does in those. So we kick off with the design. It's a state-of-the-art design from Nubia. It's like Nubia is trying to make a statement of how well they design phones here. The back of the phone is glass and it's quite smooth because there is no camera bump. The whole phone is smooth and it looks really amazing. The back is transparent at some places so you can see some insides of the phone and it looks really nice. And also the fan at the back, if you can look at it, is RGB lit and this is customizable so you can change it to any color that you like. Also, when you look at the side of the phone, you can see the RGB lights as well. So you can see the left and right triggers have RGB lighting. You can change those as well. And you can see the fan also from the side. At the top of the phone, you can see the phone still retains a headphone jack for these people who do not like Bluetooth headphones. As for the front, it is a gorgeous screen. There is no interruptions in the screen whatsoever. It's a square screen with the camera being under the display. So the screen is perfect for gaming. I have not seen a screen like this before. When you hold the phone, you think like it's from the future. Also, it's a 120Hz screen paired with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, so it is perfect for gaming. And it's worth mentioning the standard of Redmagic game launcher is still there, so if you turn it on from the side and you will see it running, and then you have all your games there and all the features that you had before for the triggers and changing the clock speeds for the GPU and the CPU and so many other things. This is the same as the phone before it, so we're not going to mention it in this video. We have mentioned it before in different videos, but this is amazing because no other phone has a capable game launcher like this one. But what we're most interested in is the performance of the phone. So how does it do in Android gaming first, and then we're going to go try some emulators. I'm going to try 4 Android games here before we jump into emulators. The first game we're going to go with Fortnite, and then GTA San Andreas, the enhanced version, and then we're going to do COD Mobile and then PUBG Mobile. These are the most famous games right now, so we're going to try how the performance is and show you the frame rates for each game. Our Android games are ready, and first we're going to start with PUBG Mobile. Alright, PUBG Mobile is now running on our phone, and first we're gonna put our GPU and CPU into the maximum level till we get the best performance out there. Let's look at our graphics settings, and we're gonna have Ultra HD and Ultra frame rates. Let's see how much we can get, and then we can lower the graphics a little bit to see the maximum frame rate we could get. Now we are inside the game and landing. As you can see, the game is still at 40 frames per second. It does not change. This is quite stable, but I did expect more. I expected it to be 60 frames per second, but at the extreme graphics, maybe this is not available yet for Android phones. So this is not bad, but it's not the best out there. Alright, so now we have landed in the game, as you can see here, and we are running around in the area, and it's still 40 frames per second. It is quite stable. So let's now lower the graphics a little bit and see how much frame rates we could get. Alright, so we have reduced our graphics into HDR graphics, and the game is running at the low bit at 60 frames per second, sometimes dropping to 59, but this is not a problem. Let's see when the match starts and how much the game would give us. This is the game before landing, as you can see here, and still at 16 frames per second. It is not fluctuating down, so it's quite good, but it's not above 60 frames per second. I expected more. I expected it to be at 90 or 120 Hz by now with the Snapdragon Gen 3, but it is still at 60 frames per second. Just like the last time I reviewed the Redmagic 8 and the Redmagic 8 Pro, this is quite the same with PUBG Mobile. This is not because of the phone, this is because of PUBG developers just being lazy and keeping the game at this frame rate. So next we have Call of Duty Mobile. Let's start the game and see how it does on this phone. Alright, so the way we're going to do this is first we're going to do the highest graphics possible with the highest frame rate possible with that graphics, and then we're going to go to the ultra frame rates and see how it does with that as well. So as you can see here now, the game is running at the highest graphics this device can take and the maximum frame rate that goes with this kind of graphics. So as you can see here, the graphics at 60 frames per second is quite stable. Sometimes it goes down to 59 or 58, but it's quite stable to say the least. I haven't played this game for a while, so I am quite not the best player with this game, but as you can see here, the game is quite easy to play with when you have the triggers to help you out and you don't have to keep switching to shoot and aim. Alright, so now we're switching our frame rates to the ultra frame rates. This will make the graphics go all the way to medium. We cannot change it high up. It will reduce the frame rate. So we're gonna have ultra frame rate and see how this performs. So we're now landing into Nuketown. As you can see here, the frame rate is 120 FPS. It is quite stable and it is like fluid. As you can see, keep an eye on the FPS as I go around and shoot, and it does not drop a lot. It just fluctuates by 1 frame rate, and that's it. It's quite stable and it's really fluid to play with. So this is Call of Duty Mobile performing on the Redmagic 9, and it is perfect. What do we have next? Let's go and try Fortnite now, and then we're gonna finish with GTA San Andreas. With Fortnite, it's quite complicated, as Fortnite has a lot of games right now. As you can see here, you have the Battle Royale and the new Lego Fortnite that just came out. So we're gonna try with the Lego Fortnite and the Battle Royale at the highest quality possible, and then the highest frame rate possible. So as you can see here, Lego Fortnite is running at the highest frame rate as you can put, and it is 60 frames per second. This is quite good for Fortnite gamers. As you can see here, it's quite stable frame rate, and we're gonna try with the Battle Royale, but let's try to get a better frame rate even. Let's go to the highest frame rates we can do, which is 90 frame rates. This will go to the high settings instead of the epic settings because of the frame rates we're gonna use. Alright, so this is Fortnite Lego running on the Redmagic 9 Pro at the highest frame rates possible. As you can see here, this is very close to 120 FPS running on the Redmagic 9 Pro. Sometimes it goes down to 115, but this is very good. And this is a very good news for Fortnite lovers, because 120 Hz on your phone, especially an Android phone, the Redmagic 9 Pro does really well. So here is Fortnite running at 100 frames per second, but it is fluctuating quite a bit. As you can see here, the frame rate right there, 119 now as we are landing. I want to see how much it is when we land, because I did see it go down all the way to 90 frames per second. So I have landed now. As you can see here, the frame rate is between 110 to 120. Here's people shooting at me, but the frame rate is still quite intact. So this is very good for the Redmagic 9 Pro. Alright, so GTA San Andreas is running here. As you can see here, the graphics settings don't have so much apart from the resolution, so we're gonna put the resolution up and start the game. Alright, GTA San Andreas here is running. This is the enhanced edition, as I talked about before, and this is running at 30 frames per second. There is no way for you to change the frame rates for this, but it does look quite good, to be honest, on this phone with this big screen. But yeah, the frame rates is 30 frames per second, as you can see here. It's not very stable. Sometimes it does go down to 28 and 29 if there is a lot of action going on. But yeah, the game looks quite stunning on this device, and it is a fun game to play, to be honest. So we're done with Android games. Now let's go into emulators. Alright, so our emulators are ready. As you can see here, we're going to start with the lowest demanding one to the highest demanding one. We're going to start with the PSP and then Gamecube, and we're using the Dolphin emulator, then the Arthur SX2 for the PS2, then the VITA 3K for the PS Vita, then all of these three for the Nintendo Switch, so we can get the best performance possible. Alright, so with the PSP game, we're going to go with Dragon Ball Z. As you can see here, let me show you the settings we're going with. So this is 8x PSP resolution, so it's at 4K, and then if we go down and then we'll have the upscaler, we're gonna have it all the way to hybrid. So this is the best upscaling we can have. Alright, so here's the game running. As you can see here, the graphics is quite amazing, and the game is running fully at 60 frames per second for the PSP resolution. I have not played this game in a while, so I don't know how the controls go or how to play. As you can see here, I'm getting destroyed by Piccolo here, but as you can see, it's 60 frames per second. It's quite stable, so the PSP runs amazing on the Redmagic 9 Pro. Alright, so next we have the Dolphin emulator. So for the GameCube, we have Need for Speed, and for the Wii, we have Super Mario Bros. So let's start with Need for Speed and see how it runs. Okay, so here's Need for Speed now running at our GameCube emulator. I don't know how to drive, but here is the game running. As you can see, here is the frame rate jumping between 45 to 40. So this is a bit less than I expected. I expected it to be at 60 frames per second. At least I've played with the settings of the GameCube emulator, but this is most I could do is 40 frames per second. Sometimes, as you can see here, jumping to 50 or 60 frames per second. So it's quite fluctuating depending on what's going on in the scene, but it is still playable. Alright, so here is Super Mario running on the Wii emulator, as you can see here, and it is running at 60 frames per second. Let me just get the frame rates here. As you can see, 60 frames per second, more stable than the Gamecube, which is quite surprising, to be honest. The Wii came after the Gamecube, but it is very fun to play with, and it's quite stable to play with, so the Redmagic 9 Pro ran the Wii emulator quite well. Alright, so next we have the PS2 emulator, which is Arthur SX2. Let's start it here, and we have God of War. Alright, so we have the game now running. As you can see here, the game is running at 60 frames per second. This is 4 times the resolution of the PS2. The game runs quite smoothly, and it's a fun game to play and to try again after all this time. This game I played before on the PS2, and it was really nice to play, so playing it again on the Redmagic 9 Pro on 60 FPS, higher the resolution than the PS2, is quite good. Okay, so next we have the VITA emulator. This has a lot of problems, so let's run it first, and I can show you why it does not run on the Redmagic 9 Pro. So the VITA emulator now is running, as you can see here, and it's asking for me to look at the game and stuff like that. So it looks all good, and then when you try to install a game, so let's try to install one of the games here. If you go to File and then Install a Package, and it will look for the game. So if you click anything, it doesn't matter if the game is gonna quit the emulator, and there is no way for you to get past this. I've tried all the versions and it doesn't work. So the VITA emulator for now does not work on the Redmagic 9 Pro. Maybe this is because of the new Snapdragon drivers. Alright, so how about the Nintendo Switch? As you can see here, I've downloaded 3 different emulators for the Nintendo Switch because of the problems I faced. So the first one is Yuzu here, and it does not work quite well. So as you can see here, we have 3 games loaded to the emulator, and when you run a game, it will just either crash or not do anything. So this is The Witcher supposed to run here, but it does not really do anything. It just stays on a black screen, or does this. This is quite annoying, to be honest. I've tried to go past it. If you go to a different game, it does also the same thing. So the second emulator I tried here is Egg NS. So this is supposed to be a very good emulator as well. So I loaded the same games as well to it. So let's try them. So this is the emulator. Has quite a lot of ads. It's a Chinese emulator. So if you press on the game and then go to touch controls, it's supposed to run the game, but there is a lot of problems. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes try to load the game and get stuck on the loading screen. And sometimes, of course, it shows you an ad here. Let me just cancel the ad and then show you what happens. So I've canceled the ad here. The game's supposed to run. So let's wait for it to run. So as you can see here, the game is stuck here. It does not do anything. I've tried with the other 3 games I have. I've seen other people run it on the older Redmagic, and it does not run on this one for some reason. So it gets stuck here. Again, this might be the new drivers for the Redmagic, which has the Snapdragon Gen 3. So let's start our last emulator, which has a bit more hope than the other ones, as you can see here. So let's run it first, run The Witcher here, and the game sometimes runs and sometimes doesn't. So as you can see here now, it didn't do anything. So if you click on it, nothing happens, or it just gets stuck. So what you do here, you go to do the publication keys. If you have you have to download some publication keys, and then you need to set them to the application. So have publication keys here, the latest ones. So let's give it publication key, and then give it a title key as well. So here is a title key. Then if you go back and run The Witcher 3, the game also does not run, as you can see here. Before it did run, it goes past the loading menu until you get to start the game, and again it would crash. So I don't know why it does not run. The previous Redmagic phones all ran the Nintendo Switch emulators to some degree of success, but this is quite a fail. It does not run anything on the Nintendo Switch, so this is not good for Nintendo Switch emulation for now. Maybe the new drivers will come, and then you can download them to your emulator and emulate the games as you like. So this was my gaming test of the Redmagic 9 Pro. As you can see here, we tried 4 different Android games and different emulators, and it failed with the Vita and the Nintendo Switch. So if you like to buy this phone, I left the link for it in the description below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe, and peace.